Welcome to the Helix webinar series. So one of the parts of the webinar series, certainly we've been focusing on agent training and we've been doing a lot of workshops. So I'm hoping many of you that are on here today have already attended one of the workshops or at the very least joined one of the webinars that Nikhil and I have done on Insight Finder. Today's session is a little bit different to what you're used to. Ask the Experts is literally, as we call it, Ask the Experts. So if you do have any questions, we've taken a bit of a recap from what you presented and asked us through some of the workshops. We're going to go through a couple of slides. Nikhil's got a little bit of information to share. And then the panel of the team that we've got today, there's 14 of us. I'm not going to read out everyone's name individually, but we work together collaboratively and we're here to help you install and implement your agents. So this is a perfect opportunity to share anything that you might have that you want some help with. Do let us know. And it's really, as mentioned, a collaborative session. It's building on all of the other workshops. You may be aware that when you signed up for one of the first workshops, there are other ones that you can sign yourself up for. It's right up until the end of January. So if there's anything you've missed, don't be concerned. They are recorded and there are still sessions available right up until the end of January. So you can sign up for some of the other agents as well as Insight Finder. So today's focus is on Insight Finder. So what we've covered so far, just a couple of highlights. We've gone through a general overview of what Insight Finder is and its capabilities, step-by-step configuration walkthrough. We've had real-world use case demonstrations from some of the team here, interactive live Q&A with the participants. So some of yourself may have already given us Q&A. And obviously any questions that have been raised, we're going to do that recap today. We've also created blog posts on communities, which you can go and have a look back on. I would say we're probably close to about 60 to 70 questions over the workshops we've done for Insight Finder. So very useful questions that might help you on your journey. So Nikhil, I'm going to hand over to you to do a bit more of a recap, if that's okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam, for that introduction. And hello, everybody. I'm Nikhil Deshpande. I'm a product manager for Helix Dashboards. I'm excited to be back in yet another webinar presenting to you. And Insight Finder is something I'm deeply passionate about. Insight Finder is it's AI-powered intelligence. It's a perfect solution to the problem that everyone in a service desk or a service management organization, everyone is solving problems, not idle problems, but in the sense of improving customer satisfaction, reducing MTTR, meeting and exceeding service level agreements, making sure that change management processes are adhered to. And the reality is that things don't always go as planned. So there's always a tactical need for information for everyone. And most companies have got data analysts who have the requisite skills to develop dashboards. However, the availability of those data analysts often becomes a bottleneck to progress, and that should not be. Anyone who needs to have access to information must have it at the click of a mouse, literally. And Insight Finder is the perfect solution to this problem. Insight Finder it's a solution that enables anyone who knows what they're looking for to be able to interact with the system and interact in natural language without having to write SQL, without having to know how to develop dashboards using a dashboard tool. It takes all of that intelligence away and provides a simple interface for you to build dashboards. So Insight Finder is also part of the larger BMC Helix GPT ecosystem, which includes several other agentic solutions. I'm sure you're familiar with Service Collaborator, Employee Navigator, Catalog Curator, Knowledge Curator, and so on. So this entire ecosystem of BMC Helix GPT agentic AI solutions have been developed to help you transform the entire experience of managing the service desk and end user interactions. Within Insight Finder, there's we support a broad range of applications. We started small with just certain modules of ITSM. We started with incident problem change, and then we gradually expanded to almost every area within ITSM and IT operations management. So with our latest release 25.4, we have got comprehensive support for all the key areas in ITSM. You name it: incident, problem, change, work orders, tasks, cross-ticket queries, and on the ITOM side, events, situations, metrics, service health predictions. So this has been our focus to enhance the support of applications within the BMC Helix portfolio, and that provides you a complete experience of leveraging Insight Finder for all of your BMC Helix products or solutions. So we have carried out several workshops in the past to familiarize our customers and partners with Insight Finder, what it is about, how to configure it. These workshops go on. So if you have if your colleagues would if you or your colleagues would like to attend any of these, please reach out to success at BMC Helix, and they'll help you register for the next workshop. So these workshops are carried out regularly in different time zones. They're done almost every other week. So based on the workshops that we have conducted thus far, we have received a few questions that keep coming up. So we've just compiled them on this slide, the common questions that keep coming up. And I'll just pick a few of these, not all, but let's start with troubleshooting, missing test connection button functionality. So it appears that with OpenAI, if you change the name of how that OpenAI model is configured, if you just introduce a space, it appears that the test connection button it disappears. So definitely this is beyond doubt a bug that needs to be fixed and will be fixed in due course. On the capabilities side, yeah, supported chart types. We have Insight Finder supports the key visualizations, 5 key visualizations: table, bar chart, pie chart, time series, and stat panel. And it would be good to expand the support for more visualizations. So yes, we're definitely going to do that in future releases. We'll look at what are the common visualizations of interest to our customers, and we'll definitely expand support for more visualizations on our product roadmap. What else? Data source integration possibilities. Now, data sources, now Insight Finder it works on top of Helix dashboard. So in terms of data sources, Insight Finder doesn't rely on any data sources other than what you have already configured in Helix dashboards. Now, within Helix dashboards, if you wish to configure additional data sources, again, because of the architecture, it's a little different in on-prem and SaaS. But in the future, we will allow you to configure data sources to your external data sources. So for example, if you have an external database, or if you want to pull data from Elasticsearch or Prometheus or any other solutions, like maybe a Postgres database, we will allow you to configure those dashboards, those data sources in Helix dashboards, and that will allow you to take advantage of these data sources in Insight Finder as well. Other things, dashboard refresh mechanisms and scheduling. Up until now, if you look at the use cases that we have addressed so far, those are around building dashboards, making it easy and fast for anyone wanting to pull data to quickly develop dashboards. So we are currently focused on those broad set of use cases, and we'll continue to focus on these use cases to ensure that the experience is complete, to allow more customers to adopt Insight Finder. Thereafter, we'll look at the possibility of other use cases like scheduling or other things. I mean, just because Insight Finder is easy to use, it doesn't mean that it should be the only way of interacting with Helix dashboards. The traditional ways of building complex dashboards will continue. Scheduling, of course, continues to be through the classic interface for Helix dashboards. Will we do these things in Insight Finder in the future? Uh, we don't rule it out, but it's difficult to say at this time because, as I said, we want to focus on improving the experience of just using Insight Finder for building stunning visualizations at the speed of light. What else? Best practices, leveraging seeded data. So if you've attended our workshop, we did cover this. BMC Helix introduced seeded data in a recent release. Why do we need seeded data? What are its advantages? And what happens if seeded data is supposed to be used in such a way that it's supposed to be used as a template. You're supposed to create a record from seeded data and then use your custom record, which is copied from the seeded data in your configurations for model, agent, sub-agent, skill, all of these. If you don't use these, if you don't follow this process and use the seeded data directly, it might seem to work initially. However, BMC Helix controls updates to that data. So in the future, when there are any updates, then we might update those seeded records in future releases. And when we do that, it's possible that it might break your Insight Finder configuration and Insight Finder might just stop working. So we advise everyone not to use the seeded records, follow the best practice of copying them and create your own records. Crafting effective prompts. Yes, this is important. We have one slide. We'll talk about this in a moment. Role-based access control. Role-based access control, we use the same access control mechanism that Helix dashboards uses. We've introduced two permissions to allow you to have different levels of access to Insight Finder. There's a basic permission called access, and we encourage you to grant all of your users or most users this access permission. What it does is it allows them to use the Insight Finder interface to interact with the system and generate visualizations. However, with the access permission, they will not be able to save their visualizations as dashboards. If you want to give them that capability, then you need to give them an additional capability called create dashboards using Insight Finder. This is something that we advise you keep only for your power users to make sure that they adhere to the best practices of developing dashboards. These are some of the best practices. Can we go to the next slide, please? I want to make sure we keep adequate time for your questions because this session is really for you to ask us questions, but we just wanted to cover this initial content to break the ice. Again, at a high level, I'll cover the configuration. Broadly, 4 steps. You configure the model. Once you have a subscription to one of the models, typically OpenAI or Gemini, you will have to set up that model, test your model, make sure it works. So you need to have access to the API keys for your model, whatever details are required. You also need to create the agent and sub-agents. The agent is the Insight Finder supervisor agent. There are sub-agents for every Helix product or solution. So for example, one for service management, which is called ITSM, one for AI ops and so on. Then you configure the skill where you just bring this all together, ensure that your skill is connected to your supervisor agent. And finally, make sure that the skill ID set up in Innovation Studio is set in Helix dashboards to allow Helix dashboards to connect to HelixGPT Agent Studio. So this is A simple 4-step process doesn't take more than a few minutes. And once this is configured, you are good to go. Next slide, please. Prompting best practices. Remember, Insight Finder leverages large language models. And with LLMs, the more context you provide, the more precise you are in terms of what you want, the better the response of the model. I'm sure all of us have experienced this when using ChatGPT or Gemini or any of these solutions. The same is true of Insight Finder or any other HelixGPT solution. Be precise about what you want. If you want to be sure, like for example, if you ask for MTTR for incidents closed recently, you can certainly ask that question. But what does recently mean? If you don't specify that, the LLM just makes assumptions about what recently means, and it may return data for the past 3 days or past week or whatever. Or if you ask for a visualization without specifying what type of chart you want, bar chart, pie chart. If you don't do that, the model decides on its own what's the optimal way of rendering this data. You can allow the model to do that, but if you're specific about what you want, mention it in your prompt. Show me this data as a pie chart. If you want to see it ordered in a particular way, you do that. You can, of course, enter follow-up prompts to do that. But the more precise you are, the better responses you will get from Insight Finder. Next slide, please. Okay, let's skip these slides. We've already taken 20 minutes from your Ask the Expert session. Briefly, I'll cover what's new in 25.4. Our biggest enhancement from 25.3 to 25.4, we have taken a giant leap in service management, what we support within service management. So now we've got all of incident management, problem management, change management. We've got work orders, tasks. We have CMDB and asset management, digital workplace. We also cover business workflows. We also cover vulnerability resolver, what was previously called Helix Automation Console. Also, within IT operations management, we support events, metrics, situations, service health, and predictions. So quite a comprehensive coverage of BMC Helix products and solutions. Support for large language models. We have kept up to speed with newer versions of these models. So we support GPT 4.1 from Azure OpenAI. So GPT 4.1 hosted on Azure OpenAI, and Gemini, we supported 2.0 Flash in a previous release. In 25.4, we have extended support to Gemini 2.5 Flash. We'll continue to do this in future releases. So support for newer models will continue with almost every release. Next slide, please. Yeah, let's skip this slide also in the interest of time. We want to make sure we give our attendees time to ask questions.
These are our last slides, actually, Nikhil. It's probably a good time to go into the Q&A, actually.
Yes.
So I can see that we've got a question in there. Diego asked a question. He just said about sharing the guide for the workshop 1, as did for the workshop 2. So Diego, can you hear us? Let me just see if I just want to double check that I know what you're referring to. You talking about the configuration guide, because the first one was Insight Finder, then we did Service Collaborator, and then we did Insight Finder again yesterday, but it was for APAC. What are you actually looking for? Can you
Yeah,
hear us?
for Service Collaborator, you sent a configuration guide, right? So
Mhm.
I missed the first session. I'm in the next one, but I want to know, maybe in communities these guides will be there to download it, or only in the session will be shared.
I'm just making myself a note. So you need it for Insight Finder, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Because I'm sharing my screen at the moment, I don't know if others have got your contact details, but if they haven't, if you can bear with me after, I'll share you that, because anyone that's joined the sessions will get it, and it comes up as content. I will also add it into the community, because in the workshop groups, it is listed in there, but I'll point you to it, so no problem at all. And we have still got some Insight Finder sessions coming up in November and I think also December. So if you do want to make one of them, there might be an appropriate time for you, just because they go through all the setup as well, or you can listen to the recording, but I'll send that out. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
pleasure. Okay, we have a very quiet audience at the moment. So does anybody else have any questions? You can either raise your hand, or you can put it into the Q&A. Because this is very much your session to ask this wide and large team here. Anything that you've got concerns, questions, queries, anything that came up from the previous sessions. Hi, Adi, can you hear us? You want to come off mute?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Good day. Thank you for this call. So I just want to ask, currently, does BMC have like any portals where we will be able to go through like a demo environment just to see how things work and whatnot?
Okay, we can grant you temporary access to a demo environment if you want to use Insight Finder in a demo environment. We can, but we can also enable it on your sandboxes. I mean, before you go to production, you can even configure it on your own instances so that you can test Insight Finder with your data. On our demo instances, you'll only find our demo data, which isn't always, it doesn't have any of the customizations that you may have done in ITSM. So we encourage customers to configure Insight Finder on their own instances.
Okay, okay. So is there um is there a link that we can have to get, probably if it's on cloud, if it's possible to get an image to use, or if it's on premise, if there is a software we can download to be able to test?
Is your instance of ITSM on-premise or SaaS?
SaaS.
It is SaaS. Then you don't need to install. It's Insight Finder is part of the product. As long as you meet the prerequisites, which is you need to be on ITSM 25.2 or higher. You also, so this is the basic version requirement. You also need to be on HelixGPT Agent Studio 25.3, but that upgrade, if you don't have, we can certainly help you with that. What's most important for you is to have you need to bring your own LLM. You need to have a subscription to either OpenAI or Gemini. That's something you need to bring, and you need to purchase that subscription. And once you have that, we can help. We can help you configure Insight Finder in your environments.
AD, if you have more questions, I will be posting out a reminder of where the workshop group is. There is that ask questions. If you pop them in there, we will find someone that you can work with directly as well. But as Nikhil said, if you're already in a SaaS environment, there is a process to get these agents deployed, but we can look at that offline with you. Michael, I can see you've got your hand up. Hello.
Hi, Samantha. Quick question on the Insight Finder settings on the dashboard. There's where you put in the skill ID. There's also two options that are disabled, I guess, by default for enable streaming and enable follow-up recommendations. Is there any recommendations from you on turning those on or off, and why or why not should we use those?
Yes, I can take that question. Streaming gives you, we encourage you to enable both of those, and there's no harm in enabling in both. Streaming, unlike any other interaction with any enterprise application, any application that uses LLMs, the response times can be different because there are a lot of background processes that go on. Now, the problem with this is because typical interaction between a user and system, everyone is used to getting instant responses, but here they may not. So streaming just gives you a little more insight into what's going on in the background while the user is waiting for the response. They entered a natural language prompt, entered, and now they're staring at the screen. So streaming just tells them what's happening. The system is parsing your prompt. It just converted into a query. It's executing on the database. It's rendering. So the user gets some assurance that there's something going on. It's not stuck because that's what streaming is. And the other is follow-up prompts. Follow-up prompts allow a user to, follow-up recommendations. So recommendations is a recent feature from 25.4. In addition to Insight Finder returning visualizations, it can also proactively recommend prompts for further analysis. And it does so based on its understanding of the underlying schema of the application for ITSM. So we encourage you to turn on recommendations also. So you'll see along with the visualization, you'll see two recommendations. You can click on any of those. It takes you away from, it's slightly away from the specific question you might have asked, but some users often find those recommendations interesting or relevant, quite similar to what Copilot does, ChatGPT does. In addition to its response, it provides you more recommendations to continue that conversation, to continue conversing with the system. So yes, we encourage you to turn on both of those.
So I just turned on streaming, and I like that much better, because before it just sat there and I had no idea what it was doing until it came back with the dashboard. So I almost would suggest making that a default setting, but I don't know if there's any reasons why it's set to not enabled by default. But anyways, it was nice to see that the LLM or the dashboard was doing something while I was waiting for it to generate. So thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for your question. I knew, Michael, you'd have a question for us. Okay, so we'll go back to the Q&A. David, I can see you've got a question and Shripal's answering that for you, so I'll ask Shripal to answer it live. Can you hear us, David? I don't know if you want to come off mute and speak to us live. Shripal, do you want to just read through the question and answer that live for everyone?
Yeah, sure. So it's about agent instructions for Insight Finder are blank. Should there be any default instructions in there? Yeah. So yeah, those are blank, and we haven't exposed our system prompts in case of Insight Finder, right? That's the reason those are blank. There are no plans to expose those instructions as of now, but we'll see how it goes, and if we are in position to expose those for Insight Finder as of now. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, it wouldn't allow me to do that earlier. Yes, thank you very much.
Do we have any other questions from anyone else? You want to raise your hand or come off mute? Okay, let me have a look. Who else have we got hands up from? Another David. David, can you hear us okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hello.
Hello. So I have an on-prem environment, and I wanted to know more details about activating this on the on-prem. What version do I need? And also from token consumption, do we have some kind of a dashboard or an estimation for usage of how many users will have a consumption on LLM tokens or something along those lines? Or if we have observability or some kind of a dashboard to see some details on the LLM consumption.
Okay. David, you asked a number of questions there. Let's take them one by one. On-premise, Insight Finder has not been tested for on-prem models yet. So we officially don't support yet. Let me answer this in two ways. From a licensing standpoint, you have that entitlement. The good news is you don't need to purchase any additional license from BMC Helix to start using Insight Finder. Okay, so licensing is taken care of. The second is product capability. At this time, we haven't tested Insight Finder with an on-prem model. If you want to go ahead, well, the configuration steps remain the same. Configuration for Insight Finder for HelixGPT Agent Studio for Insight Finder is identical between SaaS and on-prem. So all the documentation that we are sharing with you for configuring Insight Finder, you can do that for on-prem also. And then if it works for you, you can certainly use that solution. The other was about token consumption. We are in the process of building and delivering dashboards that give you insights into how you use HelixGPT solutions, which will include Insight Finder also. So how many dashboards were created using Insight Finder? How many visualizations were created? Because Insight Finder also allows you to create visualizations without saving them as dashboards. So we are in the process of developing these dashboards that the admins can use to measure the adoption of Insight Finder in your company. We're also delivering capabilities on the token consumption, how many tokens are consumed by Insight Finder as well as other HelixGPT solution. All those are, some of these are currently in progress, some of these are on the product roadmap.
Okay, thank you so much.
On that, on the consumption as well, if you work with your account team, we do have a token calculator. So if you're starting out with this right now and you're trying to estimate what it's going to cost you to roll this out, your account team can help you with that as well.
Okay, yeah. First, I need to upgrade to 25.
Yes, you need to upgrade. ITSM should upgrade to 25.2. If you look at I talked about comprehensive coverage of ITSM. If you're upgrading now, you should upgrade to the latest version, 25.4. It's got almost everything in service management. So yes, you should upgrade to 25.4.00 or that's one.
Okay, thanks a lot. That helped.
Hi, hello.
Hello, Diego.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I having a call. I was trying to register for the workshop number 7. I have already registered for several of them, but I missed that date for the insight. And right now I'm not capable of the registration because it's saying that I have already used my corporate email, right? So,
Okay.
how could
you can register for multiple ones, but I've just made a note now. I handle all the registrations. I'll have a look in and I'll add you to that session. I'll see which ones you've signed up for, but I will do that later if that's okay. But no problem. So you want workshop number 7, yeah?
Yeah, I missed that for the check. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I can check it for you
I
and
write
send
you.
you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I'll send you the confirmation through, and then on email you should be able to reply back to say you've received it, but I'll handle that offline for you. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so Sunil, back over to you.
Hi, thanks for
Hello.
giving opportunity.
How can we help? Do you have a question, Sunil?
Hello, is it any better?
Yes. Yeah. Hello.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
I just
Please fire away.
joined from the browser. Okay, okay. 3 SaaS. So we would like to try Insight Finder in our lower environments. And one of the requirement you had was to have an LLM. I just checked with our team that we have a demo LLM or a partially built LLM on our side, but still we would like to give it a try on Insight Finder. Do we need any additional license to be bought, or should we be part of any license model at this moment, or we can just enable it and give it a try?
You don't require any additional license. Insight Finder is an entitlement to all BMC Helix customers on-prem as well as SaaS.
Okay, if we have LLM, we can still go ahead and just use it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
There are a few questions I've seen from previous sessions. I can ask. Let's cover some of those.
Yeah.
Does Insight Finder cover all ITSM data tables such as foundation data, KM articles, SLA, CMDB assets? It covers most of these. It doesn't yet cover foundation data, knowledge management, knowledge management and ITSM foundation data is on the roadmap. Foundation, we're targeting, in an upcoming release, both foundation data as well as knowledge management, both are on the roadmap. Service level management already supported, CMDB asset management, and already supported. Release management is another item on the roadmap. So at this time, we have 3 items on the roadmap: release management, knowledge management, and foundation data.
Hello? I'm sorry, I'm sitting in a train. Maybe the connection is not useful. I would like to ask some about the LLMs. So one of our customer would like to implement their own LLM. It's based on Llama 3.5, I think so. Is there something on the roadmap to give us the availability to connect their own LLM?
We recommend that our customers use one of the LLMs we support, because if the LLM, we want to do at least a basic sanity tests on the models that we support. If you look at our HelixGPT documentation, you will see complete details of which models and versions are supported. So these are all models that we have tested, and we are reasonably certain that these models work. Now, if you bring any other model, you may use it, but BMC Helix may not support those because we don't know how those models will behave with Insight Finder. It's the ability to accurately convert natural language prompts into SQL queries that are reasonably accurate, the ability to identify the right visualization to render data. These are all capabilities that we rely on the LLM. And we recommend that you use one of the supported models.
Yeah, just on that, I think one of the things to bear in mind when you've got customized models is when you are training the models with new data or different data, you change the way that it fundamentally works and thinks as well, right? So by taking, using the GPT-4 one or the Gemini models or the Llama models that we support today, those models we've tested them. We know what to expect when they work. When you've customized it, it completely changes the way it works, and we actually don't know how that's going to react. And that's the problem. You might end up with something that's not going to be delivering your what you need using the custom model. So we don't recommend it at all.
Yeah, and just on to add on something on the technical side of it, because the question was related to Llama. Llama doesn't support tool calling that most of our agents use to do the stuff they are supposed to do, right? So there are some technical limitations as well on supporting Llama as of now.
Okay, so there is definitely also technical limitation to implement. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to try and figure it out, maybe. So, but it's not possible to connect it, right?
No, you can still connect it, but as I mentioned, we use internal tool callings. Those are not supported by Llama, so the results are not encouraging.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. Okay, do we have
Okay,
any
I
other
can ask.
questions?
I have one more question
Okay.
that I've faced in the past. So this is an example prompt. Asset management is enabled, but returns 0 laptops and 0 servers. Is there additional configuration needed? Now, if you're sure you have data in the system, but Insight Finder isn't returning it, it's most likely because Insight Finder hasn't understood your question. So you need to be more precise about the question. Laptops, servers, desktop computers, how are they modeled in your CMDB? You need to be a little more specific about how these items are modeled in your CMDB and provide those details in the prompt. So the identification of a computer as a laptop or a desktop or a server, where is it stored? Is it in product categorization? Is it in a specific class? Is it so these details would help.
Nikhil, one comment here about this question, because this is coming from a customer and we had a one-to-one to review something about their environment. And we saw that they were in ITSM in 25.2. Is it possible that because they are in 25.2, they need to upgrade to 25.3 to have more accurate in asset management?
No, asset management, you're right. Asset management was not supported in 25.2. It was supported in 25.3. But even the prompt that I've read, that may not be sufficient. That prompt doesn't have sufficient details to get visualizations even in 25.3.
Also, with 25.3 and below, this prompt will not be recognized by Insight Finder.
Okay, here's one question for you, Shripal. If custom tables are exposed on dashboards, can Insight Finder report on them?
Yes, it can. So we use to feed in LLM, we rely on our semantic layer, which is the views, which are built in Metadata Studio is the utility which we use to build the views. It's again a Pentao based utility. So if you have any of your customization, you probably need to add those fields, and also you have to along with the addition of those fields, and you also need to explain what that field means, right? So that when the context, that same information goes as a context to LLM, and that will help the precise the explanation of your customization is, the better the prompts will work on those fields, right? So yes, you can add customization to the existing views which we have got.
Right.
You want to
And
add
this
anything?
customization means custom forms as well as custom fields on out-of-the-box incident or change form. If someone has custom fields, those can also recognize, as well as if they have created any custom forms to extend ITSM, those can also be included through Metadata
Right,
Studio, right? Okay.
right. And each and everything, where whatever you add, it's better you explain with the descriptions, right? Forms, fields. The more the data, I mean, the more the um, uh, information on these customization, the prompts will be better,
Okay,
generate
thank you.
better output. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Michael, you have another question? Hi.
Hi, yeah. On the topic of views, in the configuring views section, where you have the supported views, and then there's a tab for unsupported views. Is the unsupported views, are able to enable them somewhere, or is it waiting for like a 26.1 release, or is it something that you need to use the reporting metadata studio to set up and configure?
Unsupported views, yes. So we will start supporting those in future releases. Some of these are on the roadmap, like foundation data, release management. There's one more, knowledge management. These three
I also see
areas.
that like all the archive views, I guess, would be really helpful to be
Okay,
able
would
to
it help?
do dashboards off of those. I don't know if that's
Okay.
on your roadmap as well.
Can't confirm at this time. We aren't sure how often archive views are required. So for all the data that you have archived, we're not sure. Typically, most customers have specific reports to run on archive data, but do you have use cases where there may be ad hoc queries to run on archive tickets?
Yeah, I mean, we do get requests for, you know, like with the archiving, it's like, I think it's 2 years, I think is the default. So we definitely get requests for, especially when the auditors come in to get data. We just had the auditors come in a couple months ago and ask for tickets on how we do our, you know, some security type tickets, and they want to see that. And half the tickets were still in the main incident form, and the other half had gotten archived off. So, you know, to be able to report off of that, you know, obviously we can use, you know, regular dashboards, but if that's available in Insight Finder, that would be great too.
Sure, we'll consider it on the roadmap.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your question. Okay. We are getting close to the hour now, although I put 90 minutes in. I did forget normally we do an hour, but if we do have any more questions, obviously while you've got the opportunity, do put them in the Q&A or raise your hand. Stephen, as I've got the privilege of having you here for the final recap and this slide I've sat on, do you want to just do this resources and next steps for me, Stephen Egan?
Yeah, sure, Sam. Just in terms of, you know, assisting folks with their ongoing journey and their enablement and successful adoption of the agent, our fantastic Helix Adoption Advisory team, we're ready and equipped to provide you with additional support. We would recommend that you join the Hands-on Agent Workshops community, and I think, Sam, you're going to be sending out details following the session so folks can register there, and on there you can express an interest if you do want to have a one-to-one consultation. There will also be the details of upcoming boot camps that you can register and attend. So we also, obviously, our support and escalation team are still there to provide any technical support if things aren't working as expected. But definitely those one-to-one consultation sessions are things that we can do to help advise and give you additional one-to-one support. So we're more than happy to engage on those sessions.
Actually, on that front, quite a few of the workshops that we've done, we've had a lot of polls. So if you do join them, when you get a poll, it does ask you the questions if you need extra help. But when I do send out information from today's session, there is a short survey. So if there's anything else that you do want and request, just fill that in, or you'll go to these workshop pages where there is a question section for you to ask those. But there's every opportunity to speak to this wider team here. All of the content is being documented, so everything that we produce, including these recordings, go onto YouTube, so you can go back and watch them. Any configuration guides, they will be put onto these workshop pages, and for those that have missed them, I'm more than happy to send them out again. And if there is any sessions that you're struggling with, I am the person to reach out to. I can add them to your profile so you can come to those workshops. If there is anything that's coming up, as we pointed out, there's quite a lot of workshops. The only ones we haven't started yet are the Service Curator. So if you haven't signed up for that, but you've done a Service Collaborator one and an Insight Finder, there is 3 different types of workshops. I know we have been asked about Employee Navigator. We did do some webinars, and I will point you to those resources as well. And I'm sure we will be running some of those sessions in the future. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for the emojis, the signs and the hearts and the claps. Hopefully you found this useful. We do have a few more Ask the Expert sessions that are going to be run, and we're going to do them for the other agents as well. So now you know what to expect. Don't be shy. Come with your questions ready, and we'll be there to help support you. Otherwise, have a good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. Have a good rest of the day, everyone.